Hey guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with more Entitled People. If you enjoyed these story compilations, please don't forget to tell me in the comments, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, Accuse Me of Stealing? I will make sure you never get promoted. Working my way through college, I got a job at the UK Radio Shack Tendies. It was an okay job, nothing great, nothing terrible. And then the manager moved on and a new one came in. He was not a nice person, he was moving up quickly through the company ranks, so he would soon be on his way. Christmas arrives and there are 2 shopping days remaining before the 25th, today and tomorrow. I wake up to low blood sugar. I am a type 1 diabetic related to a slight bug I have. I call in and explain how I am, and the manager insists I come in. I am okay with this, but warned that I could be a bit slow. During the day, someone buys something for $2 and hands me a $10 note. I open the cash drawer and pull out a 5 and 3 ones. I hand him the 3 $1 notes and then pause to think. Did he hand me the 5 or am I handing it to him? He said something curt, I apologized and handed him his change. After we close and are cleaning up, the manager, Andrew Grant, says to me, "A customer called today and says you tried to steal $5 from him." I explained what had happened, reminding him that I was being slow today. He told me that he believed the customer. I laughed and observed that my good name was worth a lot more than $5. He said I would be fired after Christmas, so I said, "Well, why waste time? Let's do it now." "No, I need you here tomorrow," came the reply. "That's not going to happen. I will be leaving now," I said. He told me I could not go until the store was cleaned. He had the key to the now locked front door. I said that if I called 911 and reported being held against my will, I would probably not be the only one getting fired. So I left. Christmas Eve, 11:30 p.m, the phone rings. Drunken man swearing and insulting, clearly Grant. I hang up. This continues. I pursue it with the police, but there's little they can do. This was in 1987. It continues for weeks. I know Grant is getting ready for his next promotion, probably a city center store. Ours was a town center store, so I decide it is time to do something. I call the Dixon's head office. Dixon's is similar to Best Buy, and say to the receptionist, "Hi, I'm meant to be talking to your head of personnel, HR, today, and I have forgotten their name. Could you help me out?" "Sure, that is David Epderson." "That's it," I exclaim. "Thank you so much. I will know who to ask for later. I appreciate your help." Now I phone Tendies head office and ask to speak to their head of personnel, Peter Davis. The conversation goes like this. "Peter, hello?" "Me? Peter, hi, this is David from Tendy. Hey, I got an application from one of you guys and I was just hoping to get a reference from you." "Okay, should I be able to help with that? Who's looking to work with you?" "Andrew Grant, manager of store 1404. What can you tell me about him?" David sings his praises carefully for a few minutes and then we exchange some pleasantries. Just as the conversation is winding up, I interrupt him. "Oh crap, Peter, oh Peter, I need your help here. I'm so sorry. As I reviewed my notes, I see that I am not meant to contact you until after he leaves. What an immature thing to do. What must you think of me? Look, do me a huge favor please. Forget we ever had this conversation." Well, it's an easy mistake. Sure, we never had this chat." I went to the Tendy I worked in about 6 months later and Grant was still there, no promotion. That weekend when the usual phone call came in, I told him what I had done. Of course, he had still not said he was Grant, but I knew. I told him that if I could stop his promotions with one phone call, imagine what I could do if I put some energy into it. He never called again, he did not get another promotion. Last I heard, he left and was selling off-lease cars. A better person would not seek revenge, but I never claimed to be a better person. And you know guys, you don't always have to take the moral high ground and be the better person, because some people sometimes just deserve a good old petty, or in this case maybe even regular revenge. Sure, being the better person usually is better, but sometimes it is just not as satisfying. And the next one is titled Coworker constantly taking first dibs on break room for night break, so I get to work 30 minutes earlier and take their break spot. The first thing a coworker I normally work nights with does is put a sticky note on the break room saying they are using the room for their break. It is normal on night shifts to take all your breaks in one go and take a nap, but normally you talk to your coworkers about where everyone's gonna go. This one coworker is the only one who just puts a note on the door calling dibs. After months of kinda just being a little annoyed and finding other random weird spots to break, I found my inner petty bitch. Now, I make sure to get to work 30 minutes early, and if it is that coworker who's on, I put a note on the door exactly like the ones they always did. It brings me great satisfaction to see them approach the break room sticky note in hand to then just walk away, and I sleep very well indeed. And guys, have you ever worked night shifts? What do you prefer, the usual shifts or the night shifts? I gotta say, a friend of mine frequently works night shifts, and if you are not used to that, it really messes with you. Your sleep cycle will be totally messed up until you get used to it. In addition guys, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you very much in advance, it helps me out tremendously. The next one is titled Pregnant Coworker Gets Her Just Desserts. So I work in this small family-owned office that runs 24/7. There is about 25 employees total, but in the office there's only like 12 of us. The rest work off-site. There's a woman who works there, we will call her Jill. Jill is almost 40 and has been here about 10 years. For reference, I've been here just over 4 years. Since I've been hired, and from what I hear, for her entire employment, she has never agreed to switch shifts with anyone, not once, not a single time has she ever done anyone a favor, no matter what. Yet she has no issue constantly asking other people to switch shifts with her. A year into my employment, my brother needed emergency surgery and I begged her to cover my shift the next day, and all she said was, "Sunday's my only day to sleep in, sorry." I never forgot that. Whatever, she's not obligated to switch shifts, it is her prerogative if she wants to be universally disliked by our entire office. Anyway, Jill got pregnant about 7 months ago, completely accidentally, and was actually quite freaked out about it for a while. She has pretty much been nauseous her entire pregnancy and even keeps a trash can next to her desk just in case she cannot make it to the bathroom. Yesterday she was feeling really sick and took around 12:30 PM. She asked our boss if she could leave early. He told her she could only leave if she could get someone to agree to finish her shift. Our shifts are mainly 7 AM to 3 PM, 3 to 11 PM and 11 to 7 AM, with periodic split shifts thrown in as needed. I was working morning yesterday, scheduled to leave at 3 PM, and she was scheduled until 7 PM. The only other person who could have stayed for her had plans right after his shift, so I was her only option. She waited until 2:45 PM and then sauntered up to my desk, puppy dog eyes fully engaged, and asked me to stay for the rest of her shift because she was really feeling ill. Now, I am on Reddit a lot and I never forgot that post about the crappy manager refusing to allow her employee to be at her dying son's bedside. There's a line in that text exchange that I loved and have been waiting for the perfect moment to use, and this was it. I swivel to face her, look her right in her eyes, trail my eyes down to her bulging, unplanned pregnant stomach and pointedly say, "A lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part," and just swivel right back and continue working without another word. It was glorious. Her face instantly dropped. It looked like someone farted into her mouth the way it twisted. She did not say a thing and just waddled away back to her desk, absolutely furious. 15 minutes later, I stand up and loudly announce my departure and that if anyone needs me, I will be at home taking a nap. And guys, I gotta say, I'm not sure if this really fits petty revenge because I think it is a few steps higher, just shy of pro revenge. Do you think the lady got what she deserved, or did she get a little bit too much? Let us know what you think about this story in the comments. Ask you what to do and never just do something? Okay, prepare for a million questions. I've had the same job for 2 years now in a flower shop. I've worked with almost the exact same co-workers, done the exact same job 5 days a week, so I am pretty confident that I can make certain judgment calls on what to do when I am not faced with 100 unprocessed flowers. Even coming back to work after over 2 months of quarantine barely changed my confidence. My supervisor seemed to disagree. All names changed for privacy. After I had finished making rose bouquets for the floor, there was not much else to do other than tying and packing the Lee's Hawaiian flower necklace that just came in, or wait for my boss to come back from his meeting to know what else he wanted prepped for the sales floor. Obviously, I started tying Lee's. My supervisor Cheryl almost immediately stopped me and asked what I was doing. After I responded, she said,
"We don't need those yet, so don't do those. Just wait for me to tell you what to do next time, or ask me first before you do anything."
Anything?
Yes, anything.
I shrug, shuffle my feet and decide to have some fun. I ask her what she needs done and she wants me to tie a different type of lei. Okay, deal, I tie the lace. Do you want me to pack these or do something else? She looks at me like I am stupid and then tells me to pack them. What container do you want them in? The same they always go in. Go figure, I packed them. Do you want me to leave these on this table or put them on the floor? Leave them on the table. Okay, so what should I do next? And so on, with almost every variety Lee we carry. At one point she asked me to pack the dyed orchid Lees, but put some in smaller containers for a specific store, so we don't have to repack them from the medium container later. So do you have like a specific number in mind?
3 of each, 10 total, specific numbers for each color.
I knew at that moment I got her, because it was like the light had left her eyes as she told me 3 of each, which is what we usually do. She has not given me any flack since then, whenever I find something for me to do. And the next one is titled, "If you need to pee more than twice a day, you need a doctor's note." Okay, sure. Cleaning out my home office today and stumbled across paperwork I had saved for whatever reason from a crappy call center job I all day. Needless to say, the job sucked. With the constant talking, your voice would start to abuse these trips, and they were always 3 minutes or less, but of course this was not good enough for management. Oh no. One day my manager demanded I get a doctor's note if I wanted to pee at any time other than one of my 2 regularly scheduled breaks. I could tell she was convinced I would not do it. I scheduled the appointment and filled the doctor in, who thought it was hilarious that this manager either 1 did not understand biology or 2 was on a huge power trip. He provided me with the most condescending doctor's note ever. Needless to say, she was not happy. My coworkers though all made trips to the same doctor and got similar notes. Pretty sure I wore a crap-eating grin every time I walked to the bathroom after that. And the doctor's note reads like this: "To whom it may concern, my patient requires a lot of fluid intake while talking on the phone in order to avoid dying out and becoming hoarse. When he drinks this much fluid, he must urinate every 60 to 90 minutes. Please excuse these brief visits to the bathroom as they are unavoidable." And I gotta say guys, denying your employee bathroom breaks is probably a violation against the human rights. I am really surprised that the boss is even thinking of bringing up bullcrap like this. How do people even have the audacity to think of something like this? And the last one is titled, "I ignore customers because the boss said so." After graduating college, I worked for about 6 months as a cashier at a local branch of a chain sandwich shop. Mostly, it was a great job, customers were mostly polite, my coworkers were friendly and helpful, and I genuinely believed in the company's products. Even my bosses were pretty great, except for one, we will call him the jerk. The jerk was belligerent, vindictive, nitpicky, and pretty much an awful boss in every way a boss can be awful. He had the type of crappy
"no excuses"
policy that defined excuse as literally anything besides "yes sir, of course sir." I could go on and on about all the different ways he was terrible, but this story is about one specific flavor of his awfulness. During our shifts, each employee had a certain section of the store they were assigned to keep clean in addition to their duties. The cashier section was the front counters and displays and the coffee kiosk. I don't know if it was officially the manager's job, but as long as I worked there, whoever was the shift manager always took care of the outside patio area, except for the jerk. At first he would just say things to me like,
"I'm really busy right now. Could you clean the patio?"
Which was fine. Part of the job description stated that if you had free time and the manager asked you to do something extra, you did it. He was well within his rights, but one day he suddenly started asking me why I was shirking my duties by not keeping the patio clean. After all, the patio was part of my section. It was not and never had been. I asked the other cashiers and they all agreed that they had never been told anything about the patio being part of the cashier section. I did not mind helping out with the patio if my other cashier duties were done, but it irked me that he had taken something extra I was doing to be helpful and turned it into something that I was neglecting my duties if I did not do. It felt like a bait and switch and I felt cheated. The bigger problem though was that keeping the patio clean through my entire shift was a huge pain for me as a cashier. In the afternoons, I was often the only one at the counter and customers would trickle in with a few minutes between each group. This meant that I was constantly having to run back and forth between the patio and the register, which confused customers and made it hard to get any actual work done on the patio. One day, when this was particularly bad, the jerk came up front and started asking me why I had not cleaned the patio. I started to explain that I kept having to come back inside to serve customers, but he cut me off. I don't remember his exact words, but it was something along the lines of,
"That is no excuse. Cleaning the patio is your job. Now go outside and do your job. Don't come back inside until the patio is clean."
That last sentence was music to my ears. I assured him that of course I would do exactly as he said, went outside and started cleaning. A few minutes later, a family walked past me through the front doors into the store. Through the large front window, I watched them stand, confused, in front of the register. There was no one at it to serve them. The jerk had gone back into his office to attend to his oh-so-important manager duties, and I continued to clean the patio. A few minutes later, another family came in and joined the first, standing confused and now annoyed in front of the counter. At this point, the jerk must have noticed them on the security camera because he came out of his office and started ringing them up. Then came another set of customers and another. The jerk was at the register, so he had to serve them. He was now being forced to cover my job because I was too busy doing his. I finished cleaning the patio and came inside, and the jerk immediately tore into me, asking where I had been, why wasn't I at the counter, couldn't I see there were customers here? I put on my most innocent smile. "But you told me not to come back inside until I had finished cleaning the patio. I assumed that meant you would take care of serving customers, since I could not possibly be two places at the same time." He just glared at me for the longest moment and then mumbled something about how I should have known what he meant and I was never to pull a stunt like that again, and shuffled back into his office. Not much of a victory in the grand scheme of things, but seeing the momentary flash of panic in his eyes as he realized his
"Do as I say, no excuses"
policy had backfired had me giddy for the rest of the day. And guys, unfortunately, this is the last story for today. I hope you still enjoy my content, because recently YouTube has been recommending my videos less and less, but obviously that is not your fault, that is just YouTube being weird as usual. I gotta be honest, currently I am searching for new topics on Reddit that could be interesting, and one thing that I stumbled across that not only is available on Reddit but on plenty of other sites are stories about karma, mainly instant karma. Meaning that some douchebag does something bad and then he gets back what he deserves. Essentially, I would call it a sub-genre of revenge stories, and I'm curious, are you interested in hearing stories about karma and people getting what they deserve? Because these stories can be very satisfying and I think they would fit the channel. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Either way, I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching.